All right, let's talk about motivation. Or more specifically, let's talk about the powerful illusion about motivation that's probably holding you back. Because it turns out the way most of us think about it is, well, it's completely wrong. We're gonna break down why. You know the feeling, right? You get this massive surge of inspiration. You're gonna start that new business. You're gonna learn to code. You're finally going to get in shape. But then, a few days, maybe a week later, poof, it's just gone. And you're back on the couch wondering, what is wrong with me? Well, what if I told you that this frustrating cycle, it isn't your fault? That's right. The fact that motivation vanishes isn't a flaw in your character. It is a hardwired feature of your brain. And once you understand how that system actually works, you can start working with your biology instead of constantly fighting against it. Okay, so first up, we have to talk about the biggest culprit in all of this. What is actually happening with our brain chemistry when we feel motivated? We're calling this the dopamine deception. I love this analogy. Seriously, think about it. Motivation is that incredible, powerful burst you need to get off the ground. It's the launch sequence. But nobody expects that initial rocket fuel to last for the entire journey to Mars, right? It's designed to burn out fast and hard, and that's exactly what motivation does. So here's the crazy part. That good feeling we call motivation, it's a dopamine spike that comes from anticipating the reward. It's not from doing the work. When you watch a motivational video or just daydream about success, your brain gives you a little hit of that reward chemical right then and there. It feels productive, but you haven't actually done anything yet. And that has a huge downside. We all have this expectation that motivation should be this steady, constant flame, just reliably burning and pushing us forward. But the reality, as you can see here, is that it's just a brief spark. It's a flash. It's designed for ignition, not for cruising altitude. And constantly trying to chase that spark is a surefire way to burn out. And this is the biological trap. After that dopamine high, your brain has to rebalance itself. It's called a refractory period, and here's the kicker. It doesn't just go back to normal. It actually dips below where you started. This is the crash. It's why, after that initial high wears off, you feel even less motivated than before you started. It's your brain's chemistry literally working against you. All right, so if motivation is a chemical trick, what about just willpower? Good old-fashioned grit. Can't we just force our way through? Well, the science on this is pretty clear. That's also a losing strategy. This quote really gets to the heart of it. At its core, your brain's #1 job is to keep you alive, and a huge part of that is conserving energy. So when you're trying to white-knuckle your way through some hard task, your brain basically sees it as a threat to your survival resources. It's actively trying to get you to stop and go back to doing something easy. And this brings us to a concept called ego depletion. The best way to think about willpower is like a muscle, or maybe even better, like your phone's battery. Every decision you make all day, big or small, drains a little bit of that battery. So trying to rely on it for your huge, long-term goals, it's like trying to run a marathon when you started the day with a 10% charge. It's just not gonna happen. And this creates a totally predictable downward spiral, the willpower trap. You start by forcing yourself to do something. This just burns through that limited battery life. Then you hit decision fatigue, where your brain is just exhausted. And what happens then? It defaults to the path of least resistance, which, let's be honest, is almost always giving up and going back to the couch. Okay, so if motivation is a deception and willpower runs out, you might be thinking, what's left? Well, this is where everything changes. We're gonna pivot from the problem to a really powerful and kind of counterintuitive solution. Just let that sink in for a second. This is probably the single most important idea in this entire explainer. We have it completely backward. We sit around waiting to feel motivated so we can get started. But the science shows that the act of getting started is what creates the feeling of motivation. And this isn't just some feel-good idea. It's a real psychological principle called behavioral activation. It basically says that taking action, any action, no matter how small and no matter how you're feeling, is the best way to build momentum. The action itself is the spark that starts the engine. Action is the cause, the feeling is the effect, not the other way around. So, now for the final piece of this whole puzzle. If taking action is how we start, how do we keep going without burning through willpower? The answer is to stop thinking about temporary feelings and start building a permanent identity. Just look at the difference here. The data shows that just changing the way you talk about your goals can make a massive difference. There's a huge gap between saying I want to exercise, which is just an intention, and saying I am an exerciser. That's a statement about who you are. It's an identity. And that identity starts to make decisions for you, almost automatic. So really, this slide puts it all together. We need to make a fundamental shift. Stop chasing motivation. It's just a temporary, unstable emotion. Instead, we need to build discipline, which is about creating a permanent identity, an identity that's held up by systems and habits. One is about how you feel in the moment. The other is about who you are. So let's lay out the new rules. It's actually pretty simple. Number 1, stop waiting to feel good. Action always comes first. Number 2, don't just do the thing, be the thing. Build your identity around it. And finally, bypass willpower altogether by making your actions automatic with systems and habits. The goal is to build systems, not to chase feelings. So, there you have it. The illusion is gone. Motivation isn't some magical force you have to wait for. It's a biological response that you can create yourself, simply by taking action. So the real question isn't, how do I get motivated? The real question is, what system will you build tomorrow? What tiny action can you take, and what identity can